Okay, I'd like to call the Monday, March 21st, 2022 Board of Education meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. We'll begin by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Liz, would you please be able to read the mission statement?
I would, thank you. The Orange Elementary School District recognizes that the education of each child is the shared responsibility of every member of our community. Our goal is to inspire and empower each student to achieve academic excellence, embrace social and individual responsibility, and lead with integrity. We believe all individuals should be valued and treated with respect. Together, we will make a difference.
Thank you for that. Do we have any public participation this evening? Seeing none, hearing none. We'll move on to our consent agenda. I will need a motion to accept the first item under the consent agenda. The first item is the minutes from the January 18th, 2022 Board of Education meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes? Ken? Susan? All in favor? Okay. That passed. Thank you. I'll need a motion to accept the second item under the consent agenda. The second items, let's see here. The minutes from the Board of Ed special meeting that took place on February 23rd, 2022. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes? Betty first, second, Ken. Any further discussion on this? All in favor? Okay, everyone's in favor. This is nice. I need a motion to accept the third item under the consent agenda, which the third item consists of the minutes from the first Board of Ed budget workshop that took place on January 27th, 2022. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes? First, Susan. Second was Betty. That was a tie. Betty. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, unanimous on that as well. I'll need a motion to accept the fourth item under the consent agenda. The fourth item is the minutes from the second Board of Ed budget workshop that took place on February 14th, 2022. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes? You got it, Ronette. Second, Susan. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? One. Okay. Superintendent's report, Dr. Scarpetti.
Thank you, Mr. Cap. Good evening, board members. I hope you and your families had a nice St. Patrick's Day. Our students actually had an extended weekend because the day after St. Patrick was a day off for them. We had professional learning that Friday, which Dr. Russo and Mrs. Ito will go over in a moment. Also, as you are aware, beginning on February 28th, mask wearing has become an option for students, staff, and visitors in the Orange Public Schools. The transition has gone quite well as reported by our building administrators. In addition, positive COVID cases have been minimal. As a friendly reminder to all of you, we have a COVID-19 dashboard located on our main page. And for any of you who are watching at home or any of the board members who would like to see that, please don't hesitate. But if you were to look tonight, we've had one case this past week. Also, as you might imagine, since mask wearing has become optional, many questions have followed and inquiries regarding events at our schools. So we've established a procedure. So any members of the PTA or PTA would go to the building principal. They would put a request form in, and again, what would it look like, the event? That would then come to me. I would review it with the principal, and then we subsequently contact the health department to go over that. So we've been in that process. If any of you are parents, you probably have been receiving information of some events that are occurring. There's going to be a request for a field trip out of state, so slowly, but we are going back to the way things were used to be, and there's a lot of excitement in the schools because of that. I also want to share that even though things may be looking like the way they used to be, we are proceeding slowly and intentionally. For example, our ventilation, today was a perfect day to have the process of having fresh air come through the schools. Windows are open, fresh air circulation. Mr. Gray is going to go over a few other items that we have discussed and will continue to do in order to improve our systems in the school. But that being said, when anyone's not feeling well, staff members, students, we were asking them to stay home. Each of our staff and students have received a home test. So if they're not feeling well, we're asking them to take it at home to see if they're happen to be positive or not, and so we could follow those steps accordingly. In addition, with our budget where we are right now, March 7th, the Board of Education budget was presented to the Board of Finance. We extend our thanks to the Board of Finance for their time. And as we begin to prepare for the annual town meeting, that will be held on Wednesday, May 11th at 7:30 p.m. And a week from that day is a town referendum. With regards to the personnel update, besides what I've shared with the board update with regards to what postings we have in place, we've also just posted, I think today, a para position at MLT. We are continuing negotiating committee is in the process of negotiating with administrative assistants, office aides, and paraprofessionals, and we'll begin negotiations with cafeteria on Wednesday, April 20th. And lastly, besides it being Women's History Month, it is also Board Appreciation Month. You may see a little token of our appreciation to all of you. I think you may be needing it for the rest of the week from what I'm hearing about the weather concerns this week. But all jokes aside, we are grateful for your dedication and time. I think some people mistakenly, not everyone, think that this is a paid position that you apply for. This is a voluntary position that all of you have accepted, and we can't thank you enough. As was noted at the special meeting, there are many parents that spoke to your support during the past 2 years. We can't do it without you, and so just a little token of our appreciation, and we want to thank all of you for what you do. We know it takes time away from your family and your personal, professional career at times when I call you and bother you, but again, thank you everyone for your dedication and time. And that ends my report, Mr. Cap.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Gray?
Good evening, everyone. I'll start with an update on our grants, beginning with our elementary and secondary schools emergency relief grant, ESSER 2. As you may recall, $164,000 was allocated to our district, and to date, we've had $38,000 of that grant spent, mainly for supplies for our summer school program. The timeline for this grant is all of the funds need to be expended by September 30th, 2023, so we have another year with this grant. Next is our American Rescue Plan, or ARP ESSER 3 grant, and the district was allotted $326,000 for this grant. $94,000 has been spent to date, and the bulk of that was for salaries for our summer school program. This grant funds need to be expended by September 30th of 2024. So we actually have 2 more years with this grant. And you'll notice it's a considerable large sum of money. ARP IDEA, Individuals with Disability Education Part B grant, $72,921. This is, the purpose of this is to provide federal entitlement funds to assist with the excess costs of providing special education services and related services during the pandemic. $9,000 has been committed to date, and again, the funds in this grant need to be expended by June 30th of 2023. And finally, ESSER 2, Special Education Recovery Activities Grant, in the amount of $60,200, provides flexibility to address critical areas of need in special education as a result of coronavirus. $7,000 of this grant has been spent to date, and funds need to be expended in this grant by June 30th of 2023 as well. As Dr. Scarpetti said, our proposed fiscal year 2022-23 budget was presented to the Board of Finance on Monday, March 7th. The budget presented was $22,817,372, which represents an increase of 3.67%, or $807,959. 2.2% of that 3.67% increase is attributed to contractual obligations. As Dr. Scarpetti said, we have the town meeting in May and then the referendum shortly thereafter. In food services, similar to the last couple of months, our lunch counts continue to be very strong. We're averaging about 750 to 800 lunches daily across all 4 schools. We were being reimbursed $4.32 at the beginning of this school year, compared to $3.58 last year. And since January, we've actually been reimbursed $4.57 from the federal government. So we're doing really well in our cafeteria fund and hoping to break even with that this year. So hopefully those lunch counts stay up. And again, families, lunches are free to everyone. That concludes finance.
Okay, thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Scarpetti, for this lovely token of appreciation. And I wanted to compliment you on your presentation to the Board of Finance. It seemed to be well received, and I was wondering if there was any feedback yet from the Board of Finance.
Nothing as of yet, Mrs. Hadlock. The only thing that as a request is for us to create a list, as we've done last year, of any capital items, but we haven't heard anything since.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, moving on to Dr. Russo.
Good evening. As Dr. Scarpetti mentioned, on Friday, we engaged in professional learning with all certified staff. And it was exciting because it really was the first time that we came together as a district since COVID. So the topic we thought was really apropos. It was improving school climate to support student achievement. It was very interactive, and we had an opportunity to explore the impact of school climate on student success and engagement. We discussed various strength-based models, and we examined the impact of adult responsibility and role modeling on the development of a safe, respectful, and culturally competent professional learning community. And I think it was very well received, especially after the way everybody has been feeling with COVID. We thought it would be nice to share with you a definition of what climate is, because sometimes you hear those terms, climate and culture. So if you just picture 3 circles, the larger ones being the community culture, the district or school culture, and then what is climate? It really has to do with the quality of the relationships of all the people in the community. And so all relationships, students to students, students to staff, staff to staff, staff to parents, students to parents, and the community. And so there was a really wonderful quote that was shared. And it was that school climate is much like the air we breathe. It tends to go unnoticed until something is seriously wrong. And so like the climate, you always have to know what it's like, know how to be prepared. And there were just so many wonderful discussions. We are sharing a survey with our teachers tomorrow morning, and we will review their feedback, and then we will share that at the curriculum subcommittee meeting. But it was really about how character education, school climate come together, and just about raising good people. And so there was, I thought it was very well received, and Mary will follow up on that. The only other thing, other than all the information that has been shared in the board update that I'd like to share tonight, is that we have just about all of the instructors for summer learning lined up. There are just a few that we still need, but just a few for like yoga, one PE teacher, but we're really close to staffing that. We've been meeting with the IT department. We did share all of the options, or the majority of the options, with parents in the school newsletters, kind of like save the date while we get that digital platform finished. We do believe that by April 1st, or definitely before April vacation, parents will have the opportunity to go onto RevTrax and register for those courses. But at least we did share the save the date and the prices and the those nominal fees and the topics.
All right, thank you for that. Does anyone have questions? Betty?
Thank you, Dr. Russo. As far as the summer school goes, will there be limited spaces for all these different programs? So it's kind of first sign up, first get it, and if you're out, you're out?
Well, that's a good question. We will have a wait list, and so we have available seats, and then if we have, a great need, kind of like supply and demand. So if more students sign up, we'll open up another course. So we're not going to turn anybody away.
That's great. I was wondering if you'd just open up another section or something.
Yes.
And
We'll
will
keep-
some of the ESSER money that was used for summer school last year also be paying salaries, et cetera, this summer?
Yes, it will subsidize. The fees are very nominal. PE, yoga are free. The classes are like $5. One is $10, Camp Invention, because that does require a lot
Materials.
of resources.
Okay, wonderful. Sounds great. I'm sure parents are looking forward to being able to sign up.
Well, we're looking forward to having people come.
Anyone else have any questions?
I have a question. There were 19 days of summer school, so do families have to commit to a certain number? Can they, I was getting fielded these questions, can they sign up for a Monday and then a Thursday and just mix and match as they wish?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why we really need to set those parameters and use RevTrack to keep track of that, so people can just sign up for the days that they can go, commit to those, and that way we're prepared and we make sure that we have the right amount of instructors or aides to support the learning for the students.
Anyone else? Okay, moving over to Mrs. Zito.
Good evening and happy spring. Evelyn shared information regarding the March 18th professional development as a follow-up to the Adverse Childhood Experiences, or ACEs, and the school climate training that we just engaged in on Friday. Staff who are interested are going to be invited to attend a restorative practice 2-day training in August. Restorative practices are a mindset or a set of beliefs about why people choose positive behavior and about the power of relationships. Restorative practices are also a set of strategies we can use. They are rooted in repairing harm and building and repairing relationships. Restorative practices value student autonomy and the development of intrinsic motivation. We look forward to the opportunity to further develop our toolbox around social emotional learning needs in our school community. And as Dr. Russo stated earlier, these trainings lead to a greater level of academic improvement. Also on March 18th and coming up on Friday, March 25th, paraprofessionals, registered behavior technicians, and our certified staff were and will be receiving their refresher physical and psychological management training, otherwise known as PMT. The purpose of this training is to help school staff develop safe techniques using effective verbal interventions, de-escalation strategies, the practice of personal safety measures, and to provide physical assistance to children who may need this support. This is a mandatory yearly training. In addition to the PMT sessions, teachers and paraprofessionals continue to be supported with instructional strategies in reading and math through professional development and/or live job-embedded coaching. You may recall that our social worker, Diane Downey, hosted a book talk using the book How to Talk to Kids So They Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. She held these book talks during the month of February and March, and I'm pleased to share that 39 participants engaged in the book sessions. The purpose of the book club was to engage parents in conversations about positive parenting strategies, and overall, we believe the book talks resulted in great discussions. Parents reported being appreciative and engaged and eager to incorporate new parenting strategies after experiencing positive results. We hope to be able to offer more parenting sessions in the future. And on a final note, our extended school year, which is different than Evelyn's summer program or the board's summer program that Evelyn just spoke about, ESY is in the process of being planned for our students with individual education plans who are eligible for this service, and job postings are out. Anyone interested in providing instruction over the summer is encouraged to contact the special education office to submit an application, which can be found on our website. And that's it.
All right, thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Will any of the children that are doing the extended school year be able to participate in any of the summer school programs?
Absolutely, that's a really good question. So all our families are encouraged to sign their children up, and the extended school year staff will take a look at what those children that are eligible for, what they signed up for, and do our best to work around what they chose as an option, because the time frame is the same and the days are the same, but the amount of time that they need to engage in ESY is not necessarily the entire time. So yeah, we will be working in tandem with that. Thank you for asking.
The restorative practice summer opportunity, is that people will be going out to that, or is that coming here for people to attend?
Joanne Freiberg and Pat Saccone, who are the two people who delivered the PD around ACES and our school climate, will be facilitating that right here in district.
Will you be opening it up to other districts as a tuition possibility?
You know that, Betty, that's a really great suggestion. We do have limited spots, but we do have 4 days, two different days that we have so a total of 120 seats. So if for some reason we don't have enough staff in the district, because we will invite paras, reading aides, math aides,
Right.
as well as our
Yeah,
certified
I was
staff
just
to
looking
sign
at
up.
it as a different opportunity for,
And that's it. It's absolutely a great idea. So we will be keeping an eye on those numbers, and if we do find that we have some openings, we can certainly do that. I love the
you.
idea. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, thank you for the reports. Board business. Mrs. Arterberry has submitted a letter asking for permission for the fifth grade students to visit Old Sturbridge Village in Massachusetts. Policy 6153, field trips state trips outside the state of Connecticut must have the approval of the Board of Education. I'm looking for a motion to approve of this trip. Susan, second. Ronette. Do I have a second? Any further discussion? No discussion? We can't get into the exact details for security reasons. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Mr. Cap, do you know if other schools will be doing the same trip, or just
I
Turkey
am not
Hill?
aware, Dr. Scarpetti.
Currently, that's been a trip that Turkey Hills has been focused on. There's other field trips that may not be out of state, but that's been a discussion with the principals and the teachers of that grade level.
Okay, well, I mean, I know that that was a traditional trip for all the fifth graders throughout the district, yeah. Yeah, well, this is the only,
Okay. Moving on, discussion and possible action regarding policy 5141.8, face mask coverings. Mrs. Hadlock, would you mind providing an update on the discussion from the Personnel Policy and Transportation Committee on the face mask policy?
certainly. The policy committee met on February 28th, and since the board voted unanimously to make masks optional on February 23rd, we did examine the current policy that we had in place and realizing that really in order for it to have any reason to be there, it would have to be totally revamped in order to plan for any future health emergencies. So if the recommendation of the committee is to suspend the policy for now, and the committee will be starting to discuss how to proceed at our next meeting later this month.
Okay. Do I have a motion to suspend policy 5141.8, face mask coverings then? Susan, second? Betty? Any discussion from anyone? Ken?
I'll use my microphone.
Thank you.
So is the intent to write a replacement policy that gives us the breadth to make decisions if cases go up and things like that? That's the intent?
I think that, yeah, in order to plan for any future emergencies, whether it's COVID or something that we haven't even thought about or heard about, we want to relook at it and see what we need to do to make it something that gives us the authority to make things happen.
Sure. And that'll take some time, so.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
the
I think
idea
that-
is suspend this one for now so
Right.
that we can go back to the
Because
drawing board.
Yeah, the current policy was mandated by the state, and really, we kind of took it as it was, and there's a lot in it that doesn't need to be there anymore.
Yeah. If I could just add, that was the
Yes.
CABE policy, and we used it and modified it slightly, but we basically put it as CABE read it. It's not state, coming down from the state, it came from CABE, which is the organization for our boards of education. And right now, even if you read it today, you will see that it really doesn't apply because we've already voted to remove it. So we do need to revamp.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks.
Any other further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, thank you. Okay, we have a bunch of first read policies. Please remember that if you have any questions reading through these policies between this month and next month, to contact Dr. Scarpetti or Mrs. Hadlock regarding, and I'll read them off really quick. Policy first read 3541.22, transportation drivers. Policy first read 4111.1/4211.1, equal employment opportunity. Policy first read 4112.6/4212.6, personnel records. Policy first read 4112.8/4212.8, neoposium. Yes, exactly.
But you were doing a great
I was doing a great job, and that one just threw me off, I'm sorry. Policy first read 4118.14, non-discrimination of basis of disabilities. And policy first read 1212, school volunteers. Okay, moving on to standing committees. Yes,
Just a clarification for the board, Mrs. Hadlock, sorry, Jeff, I'm bypassing you.
no?
Is you want people to reach out to you, right?
Yes.
And the,
And I'm going to mention that when I give
Okay.
my personnel
Thank you.
policy report.
we can wait.
Thank you. Okay, finance and operations. Mrs. Ricchio.
The Finance Subcommittee met prior to this meeting. All of our expenses are in order. Thank you to all of you for participating in the budget workshops. We know that they were time-consuming, and I really appreciated the questions, and everybody did a great job. Thank you to the administrator, superintendent, everybody who contributed to it. It was not an easy process, but I think everybody did a great job, and It seems that the town really appreciated it, so thank you again. But all of our expenses are in order. Mr. Gray hit on the majority of the top points that I would have brought up, so we will be meeting prior to the next meeting as well.
Thank you for that. You guys did do a great job putting that together. Personnel Transportation Policy, Mrs. Hadlock.
As I mentioned, the Policy Committee met on February 28th. We spent some time discussing our process and procedures since I'm a new chair and we had new members of the committee. We'll continue to work on policies that were noted by the most recent audit by CABE. The current 5 first reads are what I'm going to call some of the low-hanging fruit policies that are missing official dates or years or the legal references. So that's how we're going to start. It would be helpful, as Susan was mentioning, for our committee to have other board members reach out with questions or suggestions on the policies, either to me or Dr. Scarpetti, well before our next meeting, because we would want to be discussing it and have some time to consider any suggestions or questions. We will be meeting on March 28th, a week from tonight, at 6 o'clock. And an agenda will be coming out.
Okay, thank you for that. On Buildings and Grounds, the update I can give is that we're going to be meeting next Monday as well. An agenda will be coming out and will be posted. Moving on, Curriculum, Instruction, Technology, Mr. Zyman.
First, I have to ask the board's indulgence. Under the heading of personal growth, I'm going to attempt to join the 21st century and give my report using my cell phone. My goal is to finish this with the phone in one piece. We'll see. Just some background. In 1983, the LA Police Department and the LA Unified School District created a drug resistance education program for elementary school students. It was based on the prevailing preventative science at the time. It was called DARE, and it has been in use ever since. Now, the only thing that was in education in 1983 and is still at least peripherally involved in education is me. Everything else has changed at least once, some more than once. Just for fun, I listed some of the things that began after 1983 and affect our children today. Cell phones, vaping, the internet, and all that came with it, Gmail, Google, TikTok, Twitter, and a host of things that our kids know about which I have no clue. That brings us to last month's Curriculum Committee meeting. 2 of our school resource officers, Detectives Carolyn Bailey and Charles Nepper, aware of what is happening at Amity and around the country, and after talking with principals and students, have determined that the DARE program is not able to address the problems the children are facing today. In response to this determination, and with the support of Chief Gagne, they have developed the Students of Orange Acting Responsibly, or SOAR. I knew you'd like the acronym. This program for our 6th graders focuses on the decision-making choices of the students and helps increase awareness among students on these key issues: the role of police in our community, internet, social media, and cell phone safety, drug resistance, peer pressure and bullying, management of stress, tobacco, vaping, and alcohol education, respect and communication. The overall goal of this program is to help strengthen the bond between students and police. Through this education, the Orange Police Department hopes to teach the young citizens of Orange where they fit in the community and how they can do their part to not only help themselves develop, but help each other. Our last committee meeting was mostly spent on the presentation of one of the lessons. I think we were very impressed. I know I was. Our only questions when they completed the lesson were, could you possibly expand the number of lessons, and could you expand this program to other grades? They're doing so well. Seems like high praise to me. Our lesson was well thought out, professionally presented, full of useful information, and I believe this program will be enthusiastically received by our students. I've spoken with Dr. Scarpetti, And I'm hopeful that maybe we can have a lesson done over the summer. And that's it.
Thank you for that. Moving over to ACES update, Mrs. Ricchio.
So ACES met on February 10th and March 10th. One thing I wanted to note and let you know that ACES will be having their annual gala for the ACES Foundation, which provides additional funds for, additional items that the schools may not be able to provide. So we have a full budget for all of our schools, but the foundation provides additional things for enhancement. That gala will be on Thursday at Anthony's Ocean View. Dr. Scarpetti and I will be going. If anybody else would like to join, let me know. But it should be fun, and I will update you. So just one thing to note, and I think I may have mentioned it before, but the ACES Foundation has raised over $1 million for ACES, which is pretty amazing, and it's only been 10 years or something. So anyway, I'm looking forward to going. So the governing board met February 10th and March 10th. Our next meeting is April 21st. We had similar presentations about budget. The difference is that I've already gone through 21 budgets with ACES, because each school has its own budget. We have to approve each school and each program individually, and we still have our magnet schools to go through, and we still have 2 other departments within ACES. So it's, we have a lot here in Orange, but ACES, because it's got so many different activities going on, and some fall under the nonprofit realm, and some are for more of a for-profit end of it. So all of them have been approved thus far, so we still have a handful more, and I will let you know what those numbers total up to. The reason why I mention it is because it ultimately would impact us with regards to costs. The only time it costs us money to use ACES services is if we're using their services, for example, like if we're sending a child to a special school or we're sending a child to a magnet school. So it would be in the tuition costs. So just so you are aware of that. Overall, everything is running well. We do have some real estate transactions that I will be sharing with you next month. We may be selling a property. We are hoping to be selling a property. And we're also looking to purchase a property from the town of Hamden. That was already in the news, so I'm not speaking out of school. Wintergreen Interdistrict Magnet School used to be on out on Wintergreen Avenue. Hamden took it back a few years back, and we moved the magnet school to another location. And Hamden is now looking to sell the building. So we're going back and forth. And so we had wanted it before anyway, so we put an offer in. The town has indicated that they will be accepting our offer. It has not been voted upon yet, so I will say that we're hoping that it goes through and we can close and move the students in there for next year. There are some programs within Hamden will stay there that will, in essence, be there for a little bit longer, which is fine. We're already factoring that in. The other thing to note is that I don't know if I mentioned before that ACES has a program called, why didn't I write it down? Regions. And it's for children that are incarcerated and want to go into a trade. And so ACES has a Regions program, and they're in a lockdown situation, but they get to, in essence, obviously leave lockdown and go to class and learn. There's a barbering program. There's one for construction of some sort, and there's a third program. And so that's in Hamden right now. It's providing that service to allow them to get out of that cycle of incarceration. So they'll be able to have a trade when they come out. And they're working on what to do for if they get paroled or get out of jail before their program ends, how they can continue it so they can still get their certification. So that was a newer program that I wanted to share with you guys. I think that's it. Questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that report. Well, I know everyone enjoyed me running tonight's meeting, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to look for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. So I'm looking for a motion. Ken? Susan? All in favor? Okay, meeting ends at 7:41. Thank you.